Choosing us this afternoon, President John Mahama has directed all of his appointees to declare their assets by March 31st or face consequences, including possible removal from office. This directive follows Mr. Mahama's official declaration of assets in compliance with constitutional requirements. His declaration, submitted in writing to the Audit Service and received by the Auditor General Johnson Esedu, provides details of the properties and assets he owns.
I've just performed a simple but brief, very important act of presenting my completed assets declaration forms to the Auditor General, as required by Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution and the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualifications Act 1998, Act 550. Ghana's assets declaration regime and its related activities have often been shrouded in secrecy, and only unless in special circumstances compliance is often difficult to measure. In times past, I would privately have presented these forms to the Auditor General in fulfillment of my statutory obligation. I've taken this step of presenting these forms publicly as a way of injecting some openness and transparency into the process of assets declaration. I've always maintained that while it is all well and good to punish corruption, a more effective way of addressing the canker is preventing it from occurring in the first place. I honestly believe that if properly curated and enforced, the assets declaration process can become a sustainable tool for tackling corruption. Corruption by nature is insidious and thrives under the cover of darkness. The more light that is shown on it, the more likely that it will be fought successfully. I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders, especially those that I have appointed, that I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth, obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption, can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we can defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption.
Now let's get some education on this particular matter. Christian Hesse is a lawyer and he joins us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let's get some learning. So we understand that it has to be written, also sealed in an envelope and then presented to the Auditor General. What's really the intention of this law? What's the point in concealing it and presenting it if we want to be clear? Let's get some understanding. If you can unmute, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and good day to your viewers alike. Yes, the purpose of this traces its roots to Article 286 and of the 1992 Constitution. It is to ensure good governance and public confidence in public office holders. Now, the purpose of the document being in handwritten form is to ensure, in terms of forensic auditing, that which has been authored is traceable to that particular author.
What about concealing it? What's the point? Why can't we just publicly announce the assets?
Yeah, that is a step of review of the position of the law. Save that the documents are handwritten, sealed. They are submitted normally to the Auditor General for purposes of checking public office holders. But the next conversation about the openness or the open declaration, so that the purpose of the law would be realized, is one that lawmakers have to check in dealing with matters bordering on corruption and corruption-related matters. Because if the cure that we are seeking to put in there is to see whether or not the persons who declared have gained or not, is for us to publicly known. But if it is concealed, then it is more of a gentle handshake to public service.
And then the president himself as well declaring his assets. What's really the point?
Yes, he is taking the bull by the horn. And if you read the Constitution, it says that persons have to declare within 3 months, and thereafter sanctions could follow under Article 287. So it is everything necessary for the leader of state or government to take the lead, so that the list as envisaged in the Constitution, in the schedule, would follow suit. You have state ministers of state, you have the Chief Justice, you have Shraj, heads of departments, and the list goes on and on, so that they take public service and accountability serious. But I'm happy about the fact that he's lauding about the review of the position of the law, so that it will not just be a gentle cover over, but it would be a public declaration, so that persons who suspect that a person might have gained wealth unjustly can petition for investigation into that particular asset acquisition thereof. Also, it is just not about asset declaration, but also liabilities of that particular individual as well.
What would that mean? What kind of liabilities?
So liabilities, as the name implies, so just as your gains, your losses should also be involved. So it's about assets and or liabilities of that particular person. So basically, the Constitution is promoting a total declaration of that person. Whatever you have gained and whatever you risk of losing or you are losing should be known by the state. So that tomorrow, when there is a change in your circumstances, we are able to trace your financial development.
Again, I mean, before I let you go, this will mean that the envelope that is sealed and given to the Auditor General will not be opened until somebody has petitioned that you may have gained certain assets unlawfully. Is this it?
Yes, currently that is the position. The envelope is sealed nicely and put in the shelves of the Auditor General until either issues pop up.
So from the 31st of March, a citizen can petition, and when they are petitioning, who would they be petitioning? Would it be the Auditor General? Which institution would they be petitioning if they think that an appointee has gained certain assets that they suspect was gained by public funds?
So it goes more to the Auditor General, because the law indicates that it is directed to the Auditor General.
Okay.
Some declarations are also made to the EC, that's before elections, before filing of the forms and all of that. But in office, it is to the Auditor General.
Right. Thank you so much. We've been talking to Christian.
Thanks for having me.
Hesse, thank you for joining us. So moving on, members of the Nzema Youth Alliance are worried about the exclusion of the Western region from leadership roles in Ghana's energy sector. Now, the group says it is disappointed in the president's failure to appoint representatives from the Western region to key agencies such as the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Ghana Gas, and the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation. They argue that for over a decade, the region has maintained some level of representation, citing past appointments, including Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah as Energy Minister in 2013 and Dr. George Yankee as CEO of Ghana Gas in 2011. Now, convener of the group, George Moke, says the current administration has left them out.
The president is there. At all material times from 2009, there has always been somebody from the Western region within the energy ministry. True of us? True. And even within some of the agencies, on the boss of some of the agencies and the ministry, as I indicated earlier, the Oman of Lower Azini, was a board member at GMPC. He was there for 8 years. Yoka was a board member for VRA. He was there for 4 years. Our senior brother Ama Kofi-Boah, the hard-working Ama Kofi-Boah, was deputy minister 4 years, substantive minister 4 years at the Ministry of Energy. So it is about the interest of the Western region. You get it? Honorable Dr. Futofe is a member of the National Democratic Congress and in fact a second-time member of Parliament. And the law says that if you qualify as a member of Parliament, you qualify as a minister. So if you are sharing the national cake, it's about the interest of Western region, it's about the interest of Gomo, it's about the interest of Alembele, about the interest of Ismail East. So it is as simple as that. Okay. That is what we want. We want more of our people to be in government, you know. Honorable Ama Kofi-Boah is there now. We don't know the fate of Honorable Akunuku. We don't know the fate of Dr. Futofe. We are praying the president that he should consider these two members of parliament in addition to Honorable Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah. You know something? All the landmark development projects that you see in Jomoro, roads, electricity, water, some educational institutions, where it was through the instrumentality of some of our ministers, some of our people who serve in government as ministers, as MP, that will draw these infrastructure projects. So if you have a minister who comes from an area, there's so much that I can get, because he or she can lobby her colleagues in government so that you get some critical development projects.
Well, Ina Thalia Kwanzaa joins us with details and via Zoom. Ina, so let me understand. So the residents are insisting that because previously they have had representatives from their region and they're not seeing such this time around, they are unhappy. Is this the case?
Yes, Abepa. So just like we rightly heard Mr. Moke say that they believe that the oil and gas resources is coming from the east part of the western region, that is the Nzima area, sort of Jomoro and others. So for them, they feel that it is just right that the presidents mention people from these places like Jomoro and Nzima. Yes, they are happy that Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boah has been given the position of the Lands and Natural Resource Minister, but they feel that there should be more people included when it comes to the energy sector. And so this is their demand. And then MFA, they tell me that President Mahama, in one of his tours, promised the people that he was going to make the MP for Jomoro, Dorcas Afutope, a minister. And so this is one thing that they have also been waiting to hear until they have not heard. But MFA, I have with me the conveyor, Mr. Moke here, and I would want us to speak to him since he's also here with me and find out, Mr. Moke, why these demands? I mean, we are all Ghanaians. Everyone deserves a position. And so if the president feels that someone from another region or district deserves to, head this institution, why are you people making these demands now?
I am not saying that all the positions within the energy sector should be given to those from the western region. That is not what I have said. What you are saying is that our people must be represented at the decision-making table. Because there's a precedent. I indicated to you that during the days of Professor Amos, the days of President Mahama, it's a first step. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I even forgot, under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Freddy Blay, former MPP chairman, who is also from this area, was the board chairman of GMPC. Ura J, our paramount chief, happened to be the board chairman of Petroleum Hub. So from 2009, at all material times, selected people from the Western region play key roles within the energy value chain. It is as simple as we are not demanding much.
Okay, Abefa, so you had that. Abefa, do you have any question for him?
Of course, I do have some questions for him. And so the concern that the current government says that they want to reduce the appointments to at least 60, it doesn't matter to them at all, because at least they have appreciated the fact that there's some representation for the Western region. Why is it really so necessary to have another representation in the energy sector? Does it matter at all, the cut down on the appointments that the president has promised?
So what is she saying that at least there is a representative? Does it matter for other representatives since government wants to cut down on, the number of appointments and all that?
It actually matters. After all, being the minister is not the only position within the energy sector or the energy value chain. The hydrocarbon resources are within the Jomoro district. They are within the belly of our high seas. And these things come with their own challenges here and there. So bringing our people to the decision-making table will serve our interest, protect our interest, and for the purposes of sustainability. You understand? Creating opportunities for some of our people. That is it.
Abefa, you had rightly the conveyor, Mr. Moke.
Thank you so much, for bringing us that protest happening in Jomoro. Now, moving away from that, the Health Minister, Kabla Mintakando, is expected to brief Parliament on cholera and meningitis outbreak in parts of the country. More than 40 lives have been lost to these two diseases since they spiked, following statements made by members of Parliament on these public health emergencies. The Health Minister was directed to provide a comprehensive update on government's efforts to combat these diseases. Now, meanwhile, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akroye, says his outfit has instituted strategic measures to contain the cholera and meningitis outbreaks in parts of the country. Professor Kaba spoke when Tobinco Pharmaceuticals donated to support the fight against cholera and meningitis.
The Ghana Health Service has confirmed that 40 lives have been lost to the ongoing cholera and meningitis outbreaks in parts of the country. As health authorities work urgently to contain the situation, private stakeholders, including Tobinco Limited, have stepped in to support the fight by donating essential medical supplies. Commending Tobinco for its generosity, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akroye, assured the public that the outbreak is under control with a few suspected cases pending confirmation.
And both outbreaks, and however, we still have some few suspected cases. It's always important to differentiate or make it very clear what suspected cases and then confirmed cases. So what we are having now are just some few suspected cases, and samples have been taken for laboratory, and when they are confirmed, we'll get to know. Nonetheless, the most important thing here is each case should be treated, and this gesture has actually come in time, and we hope that once we distribute to the respective regions, it will help with the case management, that is the treatment of the cases. The situation is under control. Over the weekend, the Honorable Minister and myself and the team went to Central Region. For the past 3 weeks, there have been no deaths, so meningitis too is under control. So the Honorable Minister will give a press statement. We'll be engaging the Parliament tomorrow, after which the Honorable Minister will give a press statement on both situations.
Speaking to JoyNews, Dr. Christopher Mensah, Managing Director of Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, emphasized the company's commitment to support efforts to combat the crisis.
So when the occasion called that there was this outbreak of cholera of CSM, then he was moved by his humanitarian impulses to quickly organize most of the medications that he produces from the factory to come support to break this chain of infection and restore health to Ghana. And he's always pleased to do this. He's done this within the COVID season, and then even out of the COVID season, perennially he comes in to support, and that is why he came in here to support, and we are just representing him.
The Ghana Health Service is urging the public to practice proper hygiene and seek medical attention at the first sign of symptoms to help curb the spread. Mamavi Savako Tay's report read to you.
Now on to some education stories. Now, the shortage of professional teachers at Sabonjida DA Basic School in the Tatale Sangoli district of the northern region has left pupils at the dire disadvantage, with only 2 teachers handling kindergarten to basic 6. Trained volunteers step in to fill the gap, but the results are deeply worrying. Lessons are falling short, and pupils are knowingly repeating critical errors that could haunt them for years to come. Here are excerpts from JoyNews' latest series, Crumbling Start, produced by Emmanuel Jivenu in partnership with School for Life.
For pupils of Sabonjida DA Basic School, having a teacher is a privilege.
This my here.
2 trained teachers shoulder the responsibility of educating pupils from kindergarten to basic 6. Volunteers like Thomas, a senior high school graduate, step in to assist, but the results are troubling.
So I'm coming here to teaching ABCD, to describe yourself, to the 1, 2, 3, 2. So that's why that I'm coming to be teaching for my children. A, B, C. Oh, sorry. Let me check. A, B, C, D.
Thomas tries his best, but his grasp of the English language and teaching methodology raises concerns.
K, M.
In one instance, the alphabet L was missing from the blackboard. Where still, pupils are thought to pronounce M and N the same way, and these children repeat these errors with confidence.
H, I, J, K, N.
This is heartbreaking. These children are set up to fail before they even begin.
Well, very worrying, but still on this, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu has reaffirmed the government's commitment to transforming public basic schools into modern facilities. He was speaking at the launch of the Okankwe South Public School renovation and upgrade project.
We have an infrastructure deficit of about 5,000 schools still under trace. There will be massive investment in education infrastructure. The first part of it will be unveiled in the 2025 budget statement by the Honorable Minister for Finance. We'll work to close the gap. There is national poverty in terms of the foundational literacy between urban rural schools and private public schools. We will invest to correct it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of Esubwesu in the Central District of Ashanti region are worried about nomadic herdsmen in the community that have destroyed vast farmland. The farmers have over the years endured what they describe as torture from the herders. They are protesting the activities of these nomads whose animals have not only polluted the source of water but also their farmlands. Emmanuel Brightkeku reports.
Residents of Esubwesu took to the streets of the community clad in red headgears and armbands, holding placards to vent their displeasure at the rampant destructions of their farmlands by herders. The community is known to be one of the food baskets in Central, producing various foodstuffs like cassava, plantains, and other crops. But the farmers must contend with the transhumance, which is derailing their efforts to produce enough to feed themselves and make an earning. The aggrieved residents recount their ordeal with the nomadic herdsmen.
Aji crying in our bosso. Yakwa from when ye. Me say, walk from Nasa walk and then train go from now be a kaka. Flanning in your book, just and was sorry, then train about so.
The nomadic herdsmen have laid siege on our farms and community. When they meet you, they will signal their animals to attack you. Until they realize you are nearing your death, that's when they will signal them to stop hunting you. Yesterday, I went to the farm to get some firewood to camp cook, but the herders attacked me. The kids are scared to go to school. The only stream in the area used by residents for various domestic chores is now heavily polluted, partly attributable to the animals drinking from the stream. This alum is what we use to purify the dirty waters for use. My kids don't know how to go to the farm now. 3 persons were reportedly picked up by the police after killing some animals owned by the herdsmen. The residents are demanding the release of their colleagues and calling for an end to the herdsmen activities in the community. George Dapa is the leader of the aggrieved farmers. On Saturday, we heard the news that the 3 persons have been arrested by the police. The local authorities are aware of what is happening here. How do you arrest these innocent ones?
Assemblyman Mubi, committee chairman Mubi, and a committee for me and son so Nana Kanaka committee for so and Mubi, woman a dear Nimu. And think a policy for Mampo commander, Ubaba chair. And yes, sir, game and wildlife, no assemblyman no crown for our baby rest on.
For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel. Bright quickly.
Well, away from that as well, the Ghana National Association of Private Schools is introducing artificial intelligence and other technologies in their institutions to enhance learning outcomes. President of NAPS, Professor Damasus Torsong, says the move beyond exposing the learners to AI will also increase their creativity to meet future needs. Anasabit reports.
With artificial intelligence education gaining momentum worldwide, Ghana's basic institutions are equally seizing the opportunity to bridge local disparities by embedding AI tools into its curricula, from coding workshops to AI-driven reading apps. While the Ministry of Education has launched several initiatives to support the integration of AI into the school curriculum, the Ghana National Association of Private Schools is also embracing the idea, and private schools in the country are already channeling resources into its implementation. Professor Damasus Torsong is the president of NAPS. He says AI is the future and hence the need to embrace it.
For those who are not looking into the world of tomorrow, they may think that AI is a disadvantage. For those who know what is happening in today's world and what will happen tomorrow, they will embrace AI a lot. Because right now, you see, robots and computers have taken over the work of the human brain in terms of memory. So you don't need that memory anymore. Everything is being automated using machines, using softwares.
Professor Damasus says the move will enhance the creativity of children and hence the need to imbibe it into the educational system.
The positive side of it that many are not looking at is that AI excites people's creative imagination and propels them into critical thinking and creativity, which is the way forward for tomorrow. So we need our children tomorrow who will use AI as a means of enhancing their creativity so that they are able to create and solve problems and move into a future of growth and development.
Professor Damasus further highlighted some key challenges bedeviling the smooth running of private schools in the country, and this includes the lack of adequate infrastructure in some cases.
We have private schools which are also sitting under trees. And believe you me, if you go around, you find some private schools under trees. Their issues need to be addressed. There are private schools where basic infrastructure is not available. We need to work on those things.
Special guest of honor at the 2025 NAPS Week and Akwamuhin of the Sunyani Traditional Council, Nana Kwaku Sabin II, appealed to government to extend support to private schools to enable it continue its crucial support to Ghana's basic education.
Funding is a problem for all private schools. So I wish that government will include funding of private schools in their budgets so that some sort of funding allocation can be given to the private schools to enable them run the schools well. I mean, it could be in the form of loans, repayable after a period of time, and with little interest to cushion them so they can do what they have to do best for the children of this country.
The 2025 NAPS Week celebrations was launched under the theme Artificial Intelligence, a tool for driving education in the 21st century. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Sunyani.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Amefa Akosiadete. We go for a quick break. When we come back, we've got business, showbiz, as well as sports. Do stay.
It's now time for business here on Joy News Today. My name is Winston Taki, and at our first business story, President John Mahama has appointed seasoned insurer and former Chief Operating Officer of Waika Reinsurance, Dr. Abiba Zakaria, as the new Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission. There is more in the following report.
Joy Business understands that the new National Insurance Commissioner, Dr. Abiba Zakaria, formally began work yesterday. This was after some informal engagements were done at the Commission last week, following her nomination by President John Mahama. Joy Business is learning that there were some form of engagement with the staff yesterday in terms of introduction. Dr. Abiba Zakaria is taking over from Michael Andor, who had been in the acting position since 2022. Dr. Zakaria last year resigned as Group Chief Operating Officer of Waika Reinsurance Corporation, which is owned by members of the West African Insurance Companies Association, with presence of all over the world. He has more than 30 years of experience in the insurance industry. Before joining Waika Re, she was the Managing Director of Ghana Re. Dr. Zakaria is a chartered insurer and a fellow of the Chartered Insurance Institute of the United Kingdom and the Institute of Risk Management Professionals of Ghana. She holds a Bachelor of Science Honors from the University of Ghana and an MBA from the same university. She earned her PhD in Management Studies from the Swiss Management Center.
Other development, the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana wants government to use the 2025 budget to fast-track economic recovery. Finance Minister Dr. Kessel Atuforsen is expected to present the 2025 budget to Parliament on March 11th. President-elect of the Chartered Marketing, Michael Abiu, tells Joy Business government should look at offering some relief to businesses.
There's always been these economics of things, and where we say that you either increase revenue or you cut cost, or both. And sometimes that is where the interest of marketing comes. Because if you want to increase revenue, then you need marketing. If you cut costs and you are cutting it on marketing, then it's basically handing over your market to your competitors. And so sometimes it's a bit of an absurd position, but it's also an environment of education. And I would want us to start this whole conversation by looking at ourselves. How are we as marketing professionals creating the needed return on investment on activities within the organization? And how are we making those things well documented, possibly presenting figures to support our statements? Because a strong case needs to be made. You cannot just tell the business community marketing is needed, but you must let them know the impact of marketing on their operations. And I think that is one of the things that we need to start looking at. But I need to tell business leaders also that, let me show you something. If you cut marketing, you are giving space to competition. You are giving space to your competition to start taking over your market. You need to maintain your position, you need to grow, and in difficult times, marketing becomes your tool to sustain yourself and to gain that competitive advantage.
Finally, as you wrap up your expectation on the 2025 budget, that all other things being equal should be presented on March 11.
Okay, so generally all of us are looking for policy changes. One of the things that CMD is looking at is the regional brand index that we believe would help the country, and would want to see how the government will look at those environment. But we want policies that would ease business within the within the country. We want to be also to be able to see policies that would run around economic recoveries, because really when there's a bit of space within the market, then business activity would increase. Another thing also we are looking at, and that's where a lot of Ghanaians will be looking at, is tax reforms, because a lot of businesses and private businesses are suffering within that environment, and are looking for some tax freedom in order to be able to operate and grow their business. But we also understand how difficult this is going to be for government, because they've also made a lot of promises, and obviously they have to execute the agenda. And so finding a fair balance is one of the things that they would have to look at. Generally, I'm expecting that whatever the policy and the budget is, they are able to package it in a way that would appeal to Ghanaians and would get Ghanaians to want to support it and make sure it goes through. And for me, let me say this, that is the reason, and that is where marketing becomes crucial, not only on the numbers, but also how the numbers are presented. And I hope that they are using some of our people to deliver the budget, come in March.
This update for you at 1 p.m. on the Marketplace. Coming up next is Pulse and Showbiz.